Welcome to Slow Night Ancient Tales. As the world quiets down and the stars take their place in the night sky, we invite you to leave the noise of the present behind. The Tale of Lady Park, Part 4. I have entered your bedchamber many times, but since you never soften your heart, this is my fault. Whom else can I blame? Because of me, you have reached the brink of death. Dying may not be difficult, but to die in your youth while your parents are still alive, failing to fulfill your filial duties, would be the greatest of unfilial acts. Moreover, if you enter the underworld, with what face will you meet your ancestors? He wept sorrowfully as he spoke. Hearing his words, Lady Park felt a sudden pang of compassion. Only then did she part her red lips and speak with gentle reproach. Our Joseon is a nation of propriety. If a person does not know the 5 moral rules, how can they know propriety? Because your wife was ugly, you treated her with contempt for 3 years. Where is the distinction and respect between husband and wife? The ancients said that one should never cast aside the wife who shared one's hardships. You thought only of beauty and failed to value the true meaning of marriage. How can this be called the behavior of a great man? And how can anyone say you possess virtue? From now on, serve your parents with filial piety and aid the nation with loyalty. If you do not, even though I am a woman, I will not envy a man like you. Her words were so upright and righteous that Sebek had nothing to say in reply. Setting aside his pride, he could only plead with her repeatedly, unable to utter a proper defense. Lady Park watched him for a long while, her heart moved by sympathy. She finally turned to face him and spoke with respect. The reason I hid my true form and appeared ugly was to prevent you from being captivated by my looks, so that you could preserve your pure energy intact. The reason I did not accept you for the past few days was to test your sincerity. Now I have regained my true form, but I had resolved never to soften my heart for the rest of my life. However, a woman's heart is tender. From this moment on, cast away all past matters, and please never mistreat another person again. Sebek rejoiced greatly and said, I am an ignorant man of the mortal world, while you possess the grace of an immortal. Your wisdom is vast and different from ordinary people, so you have spoken with great insight. A man like me is merely a foolish figure lacking in judgment, which is why I mistreated such a good wife. My sins are unforgivable, but even the wise may sometimes make a mistake. How much more so for a common man like me? Please unravel the knots in your heart from the past 3 years, and let us spend the rest of our lives in harmony. Lady Park smiled and replied, I have let go of all past rights and wrongs, so please put your mind at ease. The night was already deep. After clearing away their past misunderstandings, they shared a profound joy and affection that could not be compared to anything else. From that time on, the minister, his wife, and all the servants realized how poorly they had treated Lady Park and deeply repented. Everyone admired Lady Park's mystical abilities and Sebek's newfound wisdom, and the household lived in perfect peace and harmony. Meanwhile, the news of Lady Park's transformation spread throughout the capital. The wives of various high ministers, wishing to witness this marvelous event, sent a letter. The letter stated that since it was the beautiful season of spring, with warm breezes and all the plants and creatures transforming, they should gather for a spring flower viewing banquet. Lady Park agreed and sent a reply. When the day arrived, she dressed in colorful silks, adorned herself beautifully, and rode in a flower-decorated palanquin. Accompanied by her maid Gyewa, she arrived at the designated place. Many noble ladies had already gathered. Lady Park stepped down from the palanquin, exchanged formal greetings, and took her seat. Looking around, she saw that the ladies were skillfully dressed in beautiful green jackie, tees, and red skirts. The ladies, who had been eager to see her, looked upon Lady Park. Her jade-like face and cloud-like hair resembled the bright moon over the Dongjong Lake, and the brilliance of her garments made the surrounding flowers lose their light. Compared to Lady Park, the beautiful postures of the other ladies seemed pale. Who would not be in awe? As they brought out wine and food and offered them to one another, Lady Park decided to display a bit of her magic. She accepted a cup of wine, but intentionally struck it against her sleeve, spilling the wine and soaking her skirt. Lady Park took off the skirt, handed it to Gyewa, and said, purify it in the center of the flames. Gyewa clearly obeyed and threw the skirt into the fire. However, the skirt remained perfectly intact, and its colors became even more radiant and glossy. When Gyewa brought the skirt back to Lady Park, the other ladies watched in astonishment and asked for the reason. Lady Park replied, "The name of this silk is Owadan. It cannot be found in the mortal realm. Because it is sensitive to water, it cannot be washed normally. Instead, you must purify it in fire to remove any stains." The ladies marveled at this mystical sight and asked again, "Where did that silk come from?" Lady Park answered, "It is not of this world. It originates from the lunar palace." The ladies asked once more, "What kind of silk is the jacket you are wearing?" She replied, "The name of this silk is Myeongwoldan. My father obtained it from the Dragon Palace of the East Sea. It is a treasure of the Dragon Palace. This silk will not get wet even if placed in water, and it will not burn even if thrown into fire." Hearing this, the ladies were fascinated and could not stop praising her. As the servants continuously offered wine to Lady Park, she took a cup, pulled out her golden phoenix hairpin, and drew a line through the center of the wine. She then drank. One side of the wine was gone, while the other side remained as if sliced by a sword. Seeing this wine, the ladies praised her mystical abilities even more. They said you were the daughter of an immortal, and indeed, those words are true. Today we have met a true immortal that even Emperor Qin Shi Huang and Emperor Wu of Han could not find. How wondrous and joyful this is. Overcome with the joy of spring, they composed poetry to share with one another. At that moment, Gyewa, who was standing nearby, spoke up. "It is a pity not to fully enjoy such beautiful spring scenery, with 100 flowers in full bloom showing off the light of spring. If you allow me, I would like to offer a clear song to entertain all the ladies." Hearing this, the ladies found it delightful and told her to go ahead. Gyewa parted her red lips and released a clear song. Her voice was incredibly pure and sorrowful, sounding like a coral stick striking a jade plate. The melody carried these words: "The universe is an inn for all creation, and time is a passing traveler of 100 generations. In this fleeting world like a mayfly, why not play and rejoice in the gentle spring breeze? Thinking of ancient times and looking at the world today, the rosy cheeks of 100 generations are but fully bloomed spring flowers. The passing glory of generals and ministers is but a butterfly's dream. The azaleas on the green mountains are the vengeful spirits of Shu, and the songs of spring birds among the flowers are the tears of Wang Zhaojun. When I think of the world, this world seems meaningless. In the beautiful 90 days of spring, what else is there to do but rejoice? Oh, people of the world, let us brew wine from the blue sea and enjoy eternal happiness." When the ladies finished listening, their minds felt refreshed, and they looked back at Gyewa with endless praise. Soon, the setting sun fell behind the western mountains, and human shadows scattered. Mountain birds fluttered in, and the moon rose in the east. After Gyewa sang a closing song, the ladies ended the banquet and returned to their respective homes. Meanwhile, as Sebaek's father grew older in years, he resigned from his government post. The emperor promoted Sebaek and summoned him. After Sebaek entered the court, he served the nation with great loyalty, and his reputation echoed throughout the royal court. The emperor loved him even more and appointed him as the governor of Pyongan province. Sebaek bowed in gratitude for the royal grace, took his leave from the palace, and returned home to inform his parents. His father endlessly praised the emperor's grace. Sebaek hurriedly prepared for the journey and called for artisans to build a double palanquin. Lady Park asked, "What is the double palanquin for?" The governor replied, "The royal grace is boundless for appointing a man like me as the governor of Pyongan. I wish to take you with me on this journey." Lady Park was greatly surprised and said, "When a great man enters the world, the days he serves his country are many, and the days he serves his parents are few. Being absorbed in national affairs, you will have no time to look after your wife. If I go with you, who will care for our parents? I will remain at home to serve them. My lord, you must devote your utmost loyalty to make your name shine." Hearing these words, the governor realized they were absolutely right and spoken with righteous clarity. Moved with admiration, he said, "A man like me is truly unfilial and disloyal. I am someone who hardly deserves to stand between heaven and earth. I failed to think of my elderly parents and spoke foolishly. Please overlook my faults and care for our parents with the utmost devotion, so we may avoid the ridicule of others." After bowing farewell at the family shrine and to his parents, he set off on his journey, bidding a fond farewell to Lady Park. After many days, the governor arrived at the provincial office. The local magistrates had been committing countless abuses, leaving the common people in misery and causing unrest everywhere. Upon taking office, the governor secretly investigated these abuses one by one. He dismissed and punished the corrupt magistrates and rewarded the good ones, ruling the people with benevolence and righteousness. Within a year, the 10 towns in the province were governed so well that the people sang in the streets, saying, "How wonderful, now we can truly live. Is this the era of Yao and Shun? The nation is at peace, how wonderful. Let us use the plow invented by Shenong. Let us plow the fields of Mount Li and farm. Let us gather with our parents and siblings and eat our fill with joy. Eol Neol sang Saduya." What did the old governor do? When he exploited the commoners, how could the ignorant people know benevolence, righteousness, propriety, and wisdom? How could they know filial piety and loyalty? When unfilial acts were the highest priority, and families fought each other, the world was in chaos. The dutiful became unfilial, and good people became thieves, only wishing for death. But after the new governor arrived, loyalty and filial piety were restored. He governed with benevolence and righteousness, and his virtue spread in all directions. Let us live well, people. The unfilial son becomes dutiful, the thief becomes a good citizen. The mountains have no bandits, and no one picks up lost items on the road. Let us farm diligently, gather wealth, and become prosperous. Eol Neol sang Saduya. Let us raise a monument to his good governance. Eol Neol sang Saduya. How good our governor is. Let us raise a stone and praise his virtues. In every street, they erected monuments to his good governance and spent their days singing songs of peace. As rumors of the governor's benevolence spread far and wide and reached the royal court, the emperor heard of it and praised him endlessly. The emperor raised his rank again, summoning him to be the minister of war. The governor received tea. He royal decree bowed 4 times to the north and expressed his gratitude for the royal grace. He immediately packed his belongings and headed up to the capital, Seoul, while all the magistrates of the towns and the people from all directions praised him immensely. After several days, he arrived in Seoul, entered the palace, and expressed his gratitude. The emperor praised him greatly. That very day, he returned home, paid his respects at the family shrine, greeted his parents, and after a few days, gathered his relatives from near and far to hold a grand banquet and rejoice together. Meanwhile, it was the 8th month of the Gapja year. Word came that Nanjing was in turmoil, and the emperor appointed Sibayak as the commanding general. Receiving the royal command, Sibayak prepared to enter Nanjing. At this time, a man named Im Jongyup, who was incredibly intelligent and possessed the art of transformation, had just been appointed as the central commander of Mount Cholma. Sibayak petitioned the emperor to make Jongyup his robust military officer, and they set off for Nanjing together. Hearing that the envoys from Joseon had arrived, the Son of Heaven of Nanjing sent a welcoming official to receive them. At this time, the northern barbarian nation of Tartar had rebelled, bringing the great nation to the brink of ruin. They had requested reinforcements, but had not yet found a suitable commanding general. The welcoming official, Huang Jimyong, reported to the emperor, "I have observed the military officer accompanying the Joseon envoy. Although he is from a small nation, he possesses the power to control the rise and fall of ages and the very harmony of heaven and earth. How wondrous is this! I request that this man be appointed as the commander of the reinforcement troops." Hearing this, the Son of Heaven immediately summoned Sibayak and Jongyup. He praised them and appointed Jongyup as the great commander of the reinforcements, ordering him to save the nation from the barbarians. Jongyup accepted the command, immediately entered the barbarian territory, and defeated the Tartar forces in a single battle. He sounded the drums of victory and returned to the great nation, where the emperor rejoiced, rewarded him handsomely, and sent an official letter back to Joseon. Sibayak and Jonggeup took their leave of the emperor and traveled day and night to reach Joseon. When they entered the palace, the king of Joseon saw them and praised them, saying, "For figures from a small nation to become the supreme commanders of a great nation, save them from barbarians, and spread our majesty all the way to the Tartar nation is something unprecedented in history." He promoted both men, appointing Sibak as the right state counselor and Jonggeup as the deputy supreme commander. At this time, the northern barbarian nations grew strong and began looking to invade Joseon again. The king was deeply worried and appointed Deputy Supreme Commander Im Jonggeup as the governor of Weiju, commanding him to strike down the northern enemies who frequently invaded. Im Jonggeup bowed in farewell, took his post in Weiju, and trained his troops day and night. Terrified of the southern forces, the barbarian enemies dared not invade frequently anymore. The night deepens, and our tale comes to a pause. Thank you for spending this slow night with us. We hope this ancient tale brought a sense of peace to your evening. If you enjoyed tonight's journey, please subscribe and leave a gentle review. We will return when the night grows slow once again, with another story whispered from the past. Until then, may your mind be calm and your dreams be tranquil. Good night.